Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
November 15th. Hello? Hello? Did I start too soon? Hello. Welcome. November 15 is the date, if anyone's keeping score. And it's a Tuesday, if you're checking that out too, and that means Susan's here. Hi, Suze.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm here. Yes.
Yeah. Susan just sent me some wonderful story from the Washington Post that I hadn't seen about a 101-year-old woman living here in Pittsburgh who, during World War II, was one of the workers who, what do you call that, Susan? Who decrypt?
They were crypto something.
Okay, you don't know either. She deciphered. That was the word. She deciphered Nazi, messages, and this was something that she had to keep secret what she was doing because it was such top secret stuff. Anyway, she's 101 years old. She still lives here. There's a picture of her. She looks incredible.
She does.
My God, you can tell even by the way she's sitting that she's strong. She's sort of sitting in an unfeminine posture. She's got her legs sort of spread. She just looks tough. So this is the Enigma, the Nazis' Enigma cryptography.
She took over. She and this group of women helped, at the request of England, take over because Alan Turing was out of the picture and overwhelmed in England.
Well, when Turing broke the code, right? He's the one who broke the code.
Well, he made this machine.
Yeah. So that is pretty cool. And she married her husband, never told him what she'd done, and then eventually when she heard that whatever it is she had done had been finally declassified, she told her husband. And then he liked to joke that their marriage was built on lies. On lies. I didn't even know the woman. Built on lies. So that's cool. And her name is Julia Parsons. If any of you know her. I mean, quite a woman who helped immeasurably in World War II. Amazing. And Susan also pointed out that in her picture, she's sitting on a couch that is the same couch as my mom has.
Yeah, well, it's the fabric on her beloved couch on the porch and on the enclosed porch, and which is beginning to fall apart, and she can't stand the thought of replacing it. So I was thinking maybe we should call this lady and borrow her slipcovers.
Oh man!
I just thought it's funny that they're the same age basically, and their upholstery is clearly of the same vintage.
Yeah, love it. So there was that, and I have something else that is neither here nor there that I want to drop in. I was watching, as is my habit, Turner Classic Movies the other day. And I may have mentioned this before, but it was a Philip Marlowe movie, the detective movie. There's so many different people who played Philip Marlowe over the years. Anyway, in this movie, one of the characters is this old decrepit man. He was married to a young blonde bombshell, and he's very rich. Anyway. Yeah, he's a very rich old man married to a blonde bombshell who, of course, turns out to be a bad person and ends up dead. But in the course of the movie, she says to Marlowe, they're talking about her old decrepit husband, and she says something like, Well, you know he is. He's really old. He's 65. And Susan, this guy looked maybe 85.
Right.
Maybe 90. And this is something I see all the time in old movies, that they say somebody is like 65 and they really look like they're dead. I mean, almost dead. Is that really what 65-year-olds look like in the 40s? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily,
confused.
but the life expectancy was shorter, and people looked older, younger. But I've been yelling for the last 40 years that when they put up pictures of quote grandmothers, they're actually pictures of great grandmothers.
That's
that
right.
They're off by a generation, and you know, and it's all part of this ageism and misogynistic, especially ageism, and how we're guilty of getting older and must do everything to hide it, and it can't possibly be good looking.
No way! It's unseemly to be older. And it's why, I mean, some women have really taken that to heart. And, you know, I feel for them because I forgot who I was saying this to the other day. She's younger than I am. But I said, one of the things you got to let go of, and it's something that young women are, you know, just taught to hold dear, is vanity. Vanity as you age as a woman is a killer, I think, because you cannot keep up with the society standards of the society standards.
I would say it differently. You do not have to accept society standards of what is beautiful. And, you know, so, I mean, I don't do a whole hell of a lot to myself anymore, but I'm still vain. I still have my personal standards for what I will or won't allow. It just doesn't.
Okay, well, I just want to say that vanity is probably, and you just said, I'm still vain. I think we're not supposed to be vain at any time, really.
No,
right?
We aren't supposed to be vain, but I admit to vanity. I
think most people
have
a measure of vanity.
I mean, I don't take it to extremes, but I'd be lying if I didn't admit to it.
Sure. We have a caller. Hello.
And how are you both?
Good. We're fine, I think. Yeah.
Good. I'm so glad you're talking about this with the old movies. So, because as you know, I'm a fan. I didn't hear at the very, very beginning what movie you were watching, but it
was a Philip Marlowe movie.
Okay.
I don't know.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So I was watching one the other day, and there was a guy who looked as old as dirt, and he said, "Why, I'm going to be 62 years old next year."
Exactly.
62. I just couldn't believe it. And
what do you think that is?
I don't know. And then the first time I noticed it, I was watching a movie I absolutely love, Marty, with Ernest Borgnine.
Yes. Oh, it's wonderful. And, it's a wonderful movie.
And his mother and his aunt were sitting and talking about him, and they're old ladies. And then they started talking about the fact that they were in their 50s. But 50? I don't get it.
No, because they easily looked like they were in their late 70s or 80s or something. Right.
Exactly.
It's so odd. So I mean, but I would imagine the actors, like the actor that in the movie I was watching, there's no way that guy was 65.
Right.
I mean, there's just no way. For his sake, I hope. I mean, my God. He didn't live to see 66, I'll tell you that. Jesus.
I agree. But the funny thing is, the people who are supposed to be in their 20s look like they're in their 20s, and the 30s look like they're in the 30s. but then all of a sudden,
the 40s and 50s are very like tough years.
Yeah.
That's true.
They kill you.
True.
Those 40s and 50s, they just kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Great talking to you, Buzz.
Always is. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. So, okay. Now, did that do our thing about
what?
Well, I'm talking to myself about, have we gotten, all the stuff that's not particularly important out of the way so we can get to our usual fare of
misery and unhappiness
and depression? Yeah. Okay. Well, so here's what I want to, first of all, is Donald Trump going to make his announcement tonight? Do you think, I'm wondering if with everybody, I'm wondering if he'll do a surprise of some sort and not. I'm wondering.
We'll see. He certainly has no cause to be happy. And if he thought Carrie Lake was going to be his VP, oops.
Well, I hope to hell he does announce. I want him in. He's the best thing that's happened to the Democrats, and I can't tell you how.
Yeah, I know. He's very motivating. He's extremely motivating. Between Trump and Roe,
Yeah. What else could we want?
It beats gerrymandering, for crying out loud. So.
Yeah. So anyway, there's that, and I have to say that it looks like the Republicans might actually get their wish and win the House today. They're just one seat away, and there's no way all the outstanding ones are breaking for the Dems. So I think they just need one more, and they're going to.
But that's
they have to. They got nothing. Well, no, the metaphor that I love, it's the dog that catches the car.
Right.
They wanted it. They can, and it's the same with Roe, wanting Roe gone.
Right.
Republicans want things, then they get them, and it is nothing but chaos and horror. So go for it. I think it'll be fascinating.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. They're in no position to cause harm, and we've got the Senate, and they certainly can't overturn any vetoes. So.
But they can cause harm. Let's be clear. A house under their control means that all the House committees will be under their control, which means that the January 6th committee is now gone.
That's okay. The January 6th committee has done it. They did their job. They convinced a nation. They convinced a nation, and I was thinking all through this election cycle, they are right up there with Roe, and so beautifully and carefully talking to the sensible American public. This is what it is. This is what you saw. Can you really excuse that? And the answer was no. So I'm just saying 2 years of them. And let us remember, that means that Nancy Pelosi, who's had the most extraordinary term, as she'll go down in history as one of the greatest speakers of the House ever, without a doubt. And I suspect, given what happened to her husband, that she will retire. That's my guess. Yeah. And boy, do we owe that woman. We owe the whole family a debt of gratitude. Man. So there's that, and that puts both parties in a situation of upheaval. I love that Mitch McConnell will again be denied, although he's
he still has. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. And another race that still hasn't been decided, that the only one I still care about, is Boebert.
Yeah, I know. Although I'm just so happy.
But yeah.
At the very least, it's a stinging rebuke by her own people.
Yeah. Yeah. It won't shut her up, but
no, but it wasn't suddenly a bunch of raving libs that took over her districts. Those were the same people, and pretty much 50% of them said, "We don't like you. We do not like you. We would rather vote for the Democrat," which we've never done.
Who the hell could like her? So that brings up this question that, who was it? I think Russ sent me the other day. He said that while he was encouraged with the election results, he still can't comprehend that somebody like Doug Mastriano, who, the
got as far as he did.
Yeah, and received millions. I mean, I don't know what the vote totals are. Yeah, probably, wait a minute. He received more than 2.2 million votes? So, okay. And that is something that those people, millions of Pennsylvanians who voted for that white nationalist Christian fascist, they still are here. They got outvoted, but it's unsettling to know that they're still here. Maybe we brushed them back. But my concern is that this was a battle in a much longer war, and our side has a tendency to, whenever we feel like, well, we did that, sort of disappear instead of staying aggressively in the fight. The other negative I happened to see today is we had thought the Democrats had taken the Pennsylvania State House. That is now up in the air with a calling of a race somewhere in the eastern part of the state that looks like it's going to go to the Republicans, which makes, again, I'm not sure. We're not sure that the Republicans will not have retained control. The Democrats elected a dead guy, and so that seat is empty right now till they get a special election. Who knows? I'm just saying, this is in Pennsylvania. Don't think we did what Michigan did, which is they turned bright blue. We're still purple, I think. Yeah. We're still a purple state. And so we need to resist overstating our victory or reading into it things that we perhaps should not. We won not so much because people wanted Democrats. It's that they didn't want batshit crazy. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So, now, here's something I want to know. There's a few things. This has to do with the Republicans. Now that we hear voices in the Republican Party saying, well, we just got to get rid of Trump and we'll, they're going to rebrand, they're going to blah, blah, blah. How is it possible to turn on a dime like that when you have flirted with autocracy and immeasurable anti-democratic actions and racism and you name it, anti-Semitism, all of it? Recall the silence of Republicans to so many outrages in this country. And now they think that if they get rid of Trump, they can get a new marketing campaign and be right back in the mix?
Well, they still don't have a platform other than hatred.
No, they'll go back to the one they used to have, which is we're conservative fiscally, we're for a strong defense. None of which was ever true except for the strong defense. You know, Republicans have ridden this myth about who they are for so long. You know, if things are going awry, elect us and we're good for business.
I mean, the people still buy trickle down. The only way it trickles down is if Jeff Bezos decides that he will give away his money wherever he wants. And apparently the only thing that he can think of to give his money to is Dolly Parton, which, you know, she'll do good stuff with it. But, you know, excuse me for not being impressed.
Yeah, right. Excuse me, too, because I was thinking, hey, you creep. How about paying the people
your workers
for you? Paying them, sharing the proceeds of your profits in a more equitable fashion with those who labor for you. That would be a way of ridding yourselves in real
Wouldn't that be funny if that's what Dolly did with the money? Hey, Dolly, just give it out in a grant to the Amazon employees.
Amazon workers. Right, exactly. But this thing about that people think about Republicans is a lie. Here's some facts, and I saw this. I've known this, but I hadn't seen it so starkly presented with the proper numbers. So here it is. Of the last 11 recessions that the American economy has endured, 10 of the 11 began when Republicans were in office at the top. They happened with Republican presidents. 10 of the 11.
We're always cleaning up after a Republican administration.
So how do they get to say that they're somehow these? Elect us, and we are, very careful in the handling of the economy. We balance budgets. No, they don't. 10 of the last 11 recessions started during Republican administrations. And if you look at who's president when most people get jobs, the highest job creation rates, and we'll go way back to World War II. Job creation since World War II, 6 of the top 7 Democratic administrations. So Democrats keep the economy stronger. Democrats create jobs. The lowest job creation is under Republican administrations. Every Republican president since Ronald Reagan presided over, and here's the thing, you can't get through the thick skulls of the American people, a huge expansion of the deficit. When the Republicans are in, we go into more and more debt. And somehow the Republicans have the people believing that it's Democrats who increase the debt. Let me tell you who increases the debt. Both do, but nobody holds a candle to the Republicans. Donald Trump, in his 4 years, added $8 trillion to the national debt. And they do it by cutting taxes for rich people and corporations. At least when Democrats add to the debt, it's because they pass legislation trying to help people, regular people. But how then, so if the Republicans rebrand themselves, how are they going to rebrand themselves? Vote for us. We're the party who has given you more recessions in your lifetime than any other. We kill jobs. We enrich rich people. I'm sorry. The only good Republican is no Republican. Nobody should be able to still belong to that party and be considered respectable. They killed themselves. They did themselves in. And media is going to try mightily to keep them alive. But we cannot. God. Susan?
Yes?
Why are you strangely quiet today?
I don't know. I don't know.
What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm listening. If I'm a little distracted, it is because I am getting ready to take off.
Okay. All right. So, my favorite new columnist is a guy named Tom Nichols, who writes for The Atlantic. And he had this great piece trying to explain what animates, what propels so many of the toxic leaders in our nation. And he's talking about Elon Musk. He's talking about Donald Trump. And he comes down to it's resentment, the power of resentment. And think of all the times you've maybe read pieces where you see that Trump's base, these angry people who feel like they're being,
shorted.
Yeah, shorted, canceled, replaced. They're not getting respect.
They are not being handed what they expected was their due.
Right. So it is resentment that is the propellant for the Republicans. Stoking resentment. I have always said they stoke anger and hate. But, I think honing that down a little bit finer, you do get right now to this resentment. And then he points out how that's what animates Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, but they've also, and I think this is Donald Trump too, it's that everything is a zero-sum game. So scarcity figures in from getting the love and attention and respect of your parents to the love and respect of your community to getting whatever it is you think you deserve. It's all from that same source.
That's right. And Trump never had it. He has never. And Nichols writes, Trump has spent his life as an outer borough mook. He's talking about, he wasn't from Manhattan, not from those people. An outer borough mook with his nose pressed to the windows of Midtown Manhattan, and he vowed he'd own it all. But the propellant is resentment. What an ugly stew that creates. What ugliness that creates. And he never gets the respect that he wants. And then you have Musk, who seems to have the same thing going.
So it's clearly not linked to whether they, are either claim to be or actually are rich or anything like that.
No.
And it has. But as someone said of Musk, yeah. Well, but as someone said of Musk, if you can be the CEO of Tesla, of SpaceX, and Twitter all at the same time, then CEOs don't do much.
No, I have to tell you, you cannot be. And it's not. He's the CEO of all three of those concerns, and he spends most of his time engaged in Twitter fights. He's tweeting like hundreds of times a day. Who else did that?
Donald Trump.
Yeah. So imagine these two. One's a president of the United States. The other, the CEO of three huge.
The other controls the world's satellites. Think about that. He's a national security risk.
Total national security
He's
risk.
an international security risk. Let's be more clear.
Well, let's be clear. This is a failure of government to allow private companies to take over what had been considered governmental. So NASA used to be our representative in space. It was a governmental agency. And now who is it? Billionaires, Bezos and Musk, and they're in a billionaire pissing contest, right?
Yeah, I know, but that's too. You have no vision, Lynn. You just have no vision, and you can't see that you're talking like someone that didn't, in 1910 who first saw the Wright brothers, and we're going to be zipping around in rockets in another 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, there's no way that one boy man, should be able to control satellites that an entire nation's security relies on.
I tend to agree with you.
That is insanity. Insanity. Okay, so Tom Nichols finishes this thing up like this thusly. So people like Trump and Musk, they try to whip up the resentments of the white working class who revere them because they're rich and not particularly well behaved. And the toxic impact on our politics and our democracy is, well, we see it. So he said, today, social and cultural resentment is driving millions into a kind of mass psychosis. You think these people have lost their minds,
the government, our media and our culture tells you that you to be happy and successful, you need all this stuff. You have to live in a certain way and drive a certain thing, look a certain way, never age, pay for all of this, and then when you can't eat, when no one can begin to do any of that and be happy, some people can't figure out that they're being manipulated and get resentful. I mean, at a certain point, you have to say, who could blame them? You're selling them a bill of goods that they can't afford.
But they get resentful at the wrong people.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Don't figure it out.
No, they
don't know who's playing them.
Well, it's the same people that think they're going to win the lottery. One of whom, by the way, is our brother.
Oh, it's such nonsense. Fine.
He buys tickets.
Not often. He only buys tickets when it gets real.
When he's going to be a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, why would you want to be, is what I would want to know. Why would you want the burden of that measure of wealth?
Because then he, like Bezos, could give it away.
I don't know. Hey, one thing we didn't, I just saw her picture, so one thing we didn't note is Sarah Palin is gone. She just gone. She's Sarah. All she does is lose. Sarah's gone. But Sarah was she started.
She's the epitome of the successful loser.
Well, also of a new brand of female Republican. I don't know. This Carrie Lake, she bears watching because she's an opportunist, and you have to see our media. Our media helped build her up. They were drawn to her like they were drawn to Donald Trump. Why? Because she spoke like him, the same incendiary rhetoric. But
she also came with, she was an anchor woman for a long time.
And that's right, a beautiful, mellifluous voice. She had incredible seeming poise. And so this is the danger. You take all of the toxicity of a Trump and package it in this beautiful woman who the cameras love even more than they love Donald Trump. And this is the kind of thing you're going to see more and more and more of. And it's unsettling. I mean, half the candidates looked like Fox News anchors. Women.
Yeah, but at least she didn't win.
Barely. Right. Okay, we've got a caller. Hello.
Hey, ladies, who are my favorite sisters. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey, you were talking about age. You were talking about age-appropriate roles in movies. You know, when Lauren Bacall was married to Humphrey Bogart, she was half his age.
Right.
And they had those iconic kisses and love affairs on screen and off screen. She was half his age. I remember the first time I saw To Have and Have Not, and I was like, I was like a kid. And I'm like, wait, how is she kissing her grandfather? What is going on here, right? Humphrey Bogart, he wasn't even 6 foot tall. He's 5'8", and he was like twice her age. And they're like making out. So age-appropriate things in TV and movies are very strange to me because especially during the 80s and 90s, there were these like teenage shows that were supposed to be like these kids in movies and in TV shows that were supposed to be in high school. And they were clearly like 35 years old. And they're like, oh, they're in high school. But I'm like, what? So, yeah, the casting of age is always so fascinating to me when I see old movies and even, from the 80s and 90s. Now I think they're trying to do interesting. Well, there were certain breakthrough shows. Like I think there was a show in the 80s or 90s called My So-Called Life that kind of casted people that were actually their real ages. And now, the whole big thing is Euphoria and all that. Oh my God. I see that show and I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm gay. I'm never going to have children. Holy moly. But okay, I'll shut up now. But that's my rant on age-appropriate casting.
But speaking, you're what you
they cast women now to be old young. Mm-hmm. In other words, they have a 35-year-old woman playing a 29-year-old's mother. A 29-year-old mom might have a 35-year-old woman playing his mother.
Right. But
look,
Susan, Bogart,
Susan, it just depends on how they identify. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I can't get a word in edgewise.
Okay.
I was going to say Bacall Bogart wasn't Hollywood casting. That was real life.
I know. So what do you make of that? So what do you make of that?
There's nothing.
She loved him.
She loved her. And he loved her. And men rule the world. So men can have young babes. And young babes often want a big, strong daddy. So nothing's changed there. Nothing has changed.
And not only that, but she had a type because when it was her second husband was just the exact same type, looked the same way. What was his name?
Jason Robards.
Jason Robards.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Now, look, okay, may I ask both of you, do you find Jason Robards sexy in any way?
No.
I'm a firm no on that.
I'm a no.
I would know.
He was a good actor. Maybe
he's a very good actor.
Nice.
Very good actor. Yeah. Well, but it's not about attraction is more than what people look like, right? I mean, it could be. Yeah,
it's about the pheromones, I guess.
Yeah,
you bet.
Jason Robards probably had some very great pheromones to have such a career. What are we even talking about?
I don't know. You're making me think of John Davidson.
You brought it up. What do you mean? What are we talking about?
We're talking about certain men's appeal.
Well, no. I think the topic was age-appropriate casting. No, casting in films and movies is what I wanted to bring up, and how it is so weird. And I don't know whether it's about power or whether it's about, like, who's on the casting couch. But I always find it fascinating in movies and TV about, like, wait, this person can't be with this person because, but yeah, it happens every day in life. You fall in love who you fall in love with. But the way they do it in TVs and movies is they lie to you. They make it think, oh, like this kid's in high school and he's like 40 years old. But so that's what I was calling about. And I'm sorry to take up so much of your time. I love you both so much. Now let's get back to serious topics about how the world is going to hell.
No, I was going to say
we're happy. Look, we're all happy now, but like you said, Lynn, we have to keep fighting. We cannot give up. If Democrats do what they always do, oh, well, we won this, so now we can just sit back.
No, we aren't going to do that.
Nothing.
We aren't going to do that. And I'll tell you why, because there's a bunch of very young people that that save the world for us, because the grown-ups see no problem with their having live shooter drills all the time, and they've got to vote, and they aren't going to stop voting. I think that's
a great thing.
Well, no,
they want a world to live in. They want to be able to think about having children, and that there will be a world to live in. They want to be able to control their own bodies, and they want people to stop valuing guns more than them. And they're the people that have been playing collateral damage, and now they're old enough to vote. So I think they're going to keep voting. But I'd like to say something that's very important here. Very important. Cher beat out Rita Ora for her new boyfriend, and she's 40 years older.
Well, see, there you go. The young people keep my career alive as well. But did you hear the Republicans want to raise the voting age till 21? So, okay, look, I can't take credit for this joke. I don't know who did it, but they were like, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. He goes, so, okay, let's get this straight. If you're 14 years old and you're raped, you're forced to have a baby, but you have to be 21 years old to vote. It's insane, but
yeah, they're insane.
But it's very encouraging, Not like you guys, I feel a little lighter, after these results. But
Absolutely.
We can't stop. You have to stay on the air, Lynn. We have to keep fighting.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, Michael. Bye. Okay, let's talk about, Susan, you mentioned, these young people have grown up with active shooter drills, and now that they have a vote, maybe they'll do something about this insanity that traumatized them from kindergarten on. But I saw this in the Week magazine. A company based in Missouri is selling bulletproof furniture to schools.
Yeah, it sounds like Missouri.
What, though? I have to say, what kind of a marketing scheme? Is that not the most disgusting thing you've ever heard? Here's the head of the company. He says, I want the active shooter to think he can shoot through our furniture because that's what saves lives. What? Stands up to even machine guns. That's the selling point. That's
why kids are voting. That's why kids are voting, because the grown-ups have said, we don't really care about you. Clearly, we do not care about you. And I would get that lesson loud and clear. And when I was old enough to vote, I'd get rid of all those assholes that put me through that. Now you go to school and I'll shoot at you.
I got the funniest email from Mary the other day. I can't find it here, but she said she took her dad, her elderly father, to a doctor's office for an appointment, and the doctor's office's magazine selection is always a source of jokes and frustration. But this is I couldn't believe, nor could she. She gets to her dad's doctor's office, and you know what's available to read? Probably long, old editions of Guns and Ammo.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
In the doctor's office. Guns and Ammo. You can't make it up. Okay, I want to talk about who
Wouldn't
the guy
who
who
go
has
to that
to be,
doctor.
No, I know. No, really, seriously. Me thinks he would not be in the city. He's probably out a little bit into Trumpian world, where no one would even note that he's got old editions of Guns and Ammo. They might complain, where are the new editions?
Oh, wait, I do have a question for you, though. Is Dr. Oz still in residence, or did he move again?
Oh, I don't think he ever had a place here. He's back in New Jersey. He's licking his wounds in one of his palatial
I just
estates.
want to know where he filed his taxes last year and where he's filing them this year.
It doesn't matter. It was a big issue for people here. I want to talk about the guy who's got to be the unluckiest human ever. He lives in Nevada County, California. And his name is Dustin Procita. And I mean, Nevada County is like mostly scrub. There aren't a lot of people. His house is destroyed. There aren't a lot of houses there, but his got obliterated. You know why? A meteorite crashed,
landed on his house,
and destroyed it. Now, what are the odds?
I don't know. He should have bought a Powerball ticket.
That's what he said. He said, geez, I've been told it's a 1 in a 4 trillion chance, so I guess I might be buying a lottery ticket today. Of course, that one won't work, but can you imagine being that unlucky?
No, because I don't think that's not covered by insurance, my guess is.
That's an act of God.
Yeah. And, and my thought about that is always, well, that's exactly what one would want to insure against. Why would you take an act of God out of it?
Hey, poor guy. At least he wasn't in the house when it hit, because he's around to tell the story. But if you think, these things fall, most of the mass of the planet is not populated, let alone has houses on it. Jeez, poor guy. Unbelievable. All right, let's see. What else I got? What else I got here? Oh man,
I could help out, but I have nothing.
No, you don't have to help. I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm able. I've been doing this for some time. I keep reading stuff, and I want to know what to do. I keep reading that this...
Put the book down.
What the fuck?
Well, you said I keep reading stuff, and I want to know what to do. I said, put the book down.
It's often not a book. It's, it's my phone or something like that. But listen, but reading stuff is important. But I keep reading that the recycling of plastic is a fool's errand, and that we're all doing this sort of performative thing where you're separating our bottles and things, and we're putting them out there for the city to collect. And environmentalists are now saying it just doesn't work. And I'm wondering why we keep doing something sort of performatively that isn't working. I've got one thing here that I just want to pass on to you. This is from Greenpeace. Okay, they have a report out about plastic recycling, and they say it has largely failed and will continue to fail. It makes no sense. Why? Because it's virtually impossible to effectively sort and clean massive amounts of collected plastic. And doing so, the recycling process itself is environmentally harmful. This is a fool's errand. It's labor intensive. It's extremely expensive. You know, we collect all this shit and we ship it mostly to Indonesia, to China. And what do they do with it? They dump it. They burn it, creating toxic fumes in the air, or plastic in the processes are leaked into the rivers. So here's what Greenpeace says. Studies have shown that virtually all of the plastic in the oceans comes from developing nations that handle the waste they get from developed nations carelessly. So this whole thing is bull. And they say if you want plastic bottles and containers disposed of properly, put them in the trash so they can at least be safely buried in the nearest landfill. That's coming from Greenpeace. Do you believe it?
Okay.
Recycling has always been an impractical illusion. People perform garbage sorting as a ritual of atonement, some kind of a sacrament, and even Greenpeace says now, stop it.
Okay, but not paper and glass.
No, not paper and glass. It's plastic. There's too many different types. Yeah. That all has to be sorted, all those numbers, and it doesn't work. So the plastic shit, give it up and just put it in your garbage. But Susan's right. Paper and glass, those can be recycled well. But why? So where are the voices on this? Why are we told to continue? It's like taking your shoes off.
Because it gets
performative stuff.
I know, but because they've already trained people to retrain them differently. Although this, I think, would relieve people. You know, just do what made sense to you to do anyway. I've been throwing plastic in garbage for a while now because I can't clean it properly, and that's part of it. If it's not clean, it shouldn't go into recycling.
Did you ever try to clean a plastic peanut butter?
Well, you give it to a dog.
Well, that's true, but sometimes if it's a big one, they can't get down to the bottom. Then they start. I know, but it's impossible. It's impossible.
Or mayo or anything with oil. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, listen. Maybe this is not a unanimous kind of finding, but it makes sense to me. Give it up and focus on what can be done. What we need to do is to make it harder for manufacturers to use
it. It's just, you know, what we know is just get rid of it. It was a great idea for a while.
Be recycled. Right.
Go back to the things that are recyclable.
Yeah.
Or biodegradable.
Exactly. And let government start making sure that plastic gets eased out as much as possible.
You know, it really wasn't a hardship when milk was delivered in bottles, and we returned the bottles, or when we returned our glass soda bottles. I mean, we did that for years. It was not a hardship.
Well, for some people, it might have been. Listen, what we consider hardship.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Do you want the world, or do you want to return your glass bottle? Or don't return it. Just use glass.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, and Barbara tells me, oh, that's funny. She says that National Recycling Day is today. Whoops! I didn't get the memo in time. No, I mean, Okay, America Recycles Day, also known as National Recycling Day, is a national observance. Who knew?
Who's making up all these damn days?
Yeah,
you know, if you're on Facebook, it's suddenly everybody's putting up pictures of their sons. It's Sons Day. I go, no, it's not. It wasn't Sons Day last year.
Oh, you know what? It's the signature recycling program of Keep America Beautiful, which is all just, no, okay, fine. I agree. Keep America beautiful. Don't litter. And what? Barbara's always sending me this interesting stuff that have you ever heard of the two Santa Claus theory?
No.
I think this has to do with Republicans and Democrats. Here it is. The two Santa Claus theory is a political theory and strategy published by somebody in 1976, which the Republican Party particularly likes. The theory states that in democratic elections, if members of the rival Democratic Party appeal to voters by proposing programs to help people, then the Republicans cannot gain broader appeal by proposing less spending. The first Santa Claus, no, this is too, I got it. Sorry, that's too much.
No, the only Santa Claus theory I ever had was the one that I learned from my husband, who always their family celebrated Christmas on Christmas Eve because, according to them, Santa Claus went to all the little German babies first.
What the fuck? What the?
It's amazing. Yeah, that's true. I still married him. I wasn't afraid or anything.
Ethnocentric bullshit to tell your kids about Christmas?
Well, let's not get into bullshit we tell our kids on Christmas, shall we? I mean...
Well, we don't have time. We don't have time. We've only got 2 minutes here. Jeez. My God. All right. So... I think that's about it.
We grew up in a brutalist Jewish house where there was no such thing.
Santa doesn't come for you. You're Jews. That's right. And it didn't. Did it stunt us? No, it did not. It did not.
No, but it left us all with this really strange thing where I never give a gift on the appropriate day. That's probably just Mother. I just give gifts when I find them.
No, we did not come from a great gift-giving family. We always sort of didn't quite, do that right. But no, I didn't, as a Jewish kid in a very Christian environment, I did not, I felt a little, I guess, on Christmas. It was hard to be a little Jewish kid on December 25th, knowing all your friends were like ripping packages open and stuff like that. And I especially resented the Jewish kids whose parents did a Christmas.
Yeah, that's who I resented.
That pissed me off.
I didn't bother. The other stuff didn't bother me, but especially growing up in Green Bay, where solidarity, if you were Jewish, was sort of important
was a
for
good
survival.
idea. Yeah, it was sort of important.
And so having a Christmas tree was a it took on a whole different significance in a little Jewish population than it did if you were in a big city.
Other than our good friends, the Deutsches, are you aware of another Jewish family that had a Christmas tree?
The Freemas.
Did they?
Yeah. Oh, there's a whole group of them.
Is there? Who else?
That whole circle.
That whole circle.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there's a score to be settled. Okay. I think we'd be done.
Okay.
So, Susan, safe travels back to
okay. I guess I'll see you. I'll
see you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, in between then, I'm going to go and collect us some relatives and bring them back here. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Have fun.
Okay. Bye.
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 All right, you guys. I'll be traveling next week to get back to my mom for Thanksgiving, but I think I'll be doing a show on, I don't know, we haven't figured this out. I'll get back to you on that. It hadn't occurred to me that I hadn't thought this out. I'm distracted. So have a good day. Stay warm. Could we have a little sun, please? Is it too much to ask? Dark most of the time. There's no day much more. At least when there is day, could we have it less gray? That's all I'm saying. I'm sending that out there. I was looking at the heavens when I did. All right, guys. Talk at you tomorrow. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.